Our next guest is Philip Salter, the director of the Entrepreneurs Network, which is a think tank for ambitious owners of Britain's fastest growing businesses and aspirational entrepreneurs. Welcome to the show, Philip.
Welcome.
Or do you go by Phil?
Philip.
Philip, okay, fine. Tell us more about the Entrepreneurs Network.
So it started 2 years ago. My background is in think tanks, but also a journalist. I was a business features editor at City AM. So I interviewed quite a lot of entrepreneurs. And my background in think tanks made me ask them lots of questions about government policy and what I think politicians should do. And I kind of realised there was a gap in the market, that actually there weren't any think tanks out there focusing on entrepreneurs and what entrepreneurs should do. It was all about either big businesses or very politically left or right wing. Mm-hmm. So we decided to set it up because it didn't exist.
Okay, great. So obviously you're there to help entrepreneurs, but how exactly do you help them?
So we do it through a number of mechanisms. So first of all, we have a network of thousands of entrepreneurs, and we speak to them regularly and see what kind of things they kind of care about and what's kind of limitations on their businesses. Mm-hmm. But we also commission quite a lot of research and look into anything that affects entrepreneurs. So it can be tax, problems to do with stuff to do with regulation. We find that visa reform is pretty high on the agenda of a lot of tech firms in London. Yep. So we've done a lot of research around that. Then we do events with politicians, with leading cabinet ministers, so that entrepreneurs can kind of have their say. And next we're looking to move into surveying our membership and saying this is what 90% of entrepreneurs.
So how can an entrepreneur actually get involved with you guys then?
It's very straightforward. Go onto the website, sign up, and we send out a weekly email saying what's going on and what we're doing. We also kind of let people know about other things that are going on as well.
So you got the events that you tell them about and policies and that kind of thing?
Precisely. I mean, we go to quite a lot. We have quite a lot of events in London. We also go around the country as well and do events in the regions as well, which is great.
Okay. Why? Last week we had Lulian from Blooming Founders on the show, trying to help the female entrepreneurs and female tech startups. Why do you think there are too few women-led businesses and that can reach the same economic level as the male-led ones?
Okay, well, this is something we're looking at the moment. So we've started something called the Female Founders Forum, which is part of the Entrepreneurs Network. And the idea behind this is we've got the best female entrepreneurs in the country. We're putting them together and asking them specifically how, what kind of limitations they found when they've been growing their businesses, and testing that against the academic literature. I mean, the academic literature suggests that there are limitations, there are certain blockages that happen just due to effectively VCs wanting to invest in businesses that are more like them. Mm-hmm. So actually they invest in male-led businesses based on lots of kind of blind testing that's been done.
And what can be done to kind of change that, do you think?
Well, stuff's being done on, the things are changing naturally. So you see stuff with crowdfunding, female crowd funds are actually much more successful than male.
I've heard,
Yes, the figures that we've got around 75% versus 55%. But there's issues such as STEM subjects for girls, getting those through, because obviously there's a pipeline issue.
But they're becoming cooler topics now, cooler things to study.
Yeah, because the tech firms, the big kind of scaling firms, the unicorns of this world are often fintech firms, especially in the UK. So unless we solve the problem at schools, it's not going to kind of run through. So there's issues like that. There's also issues around as I said, like VCs kind of taking women more seriously, and also maybe the way that women approach businesses and them being able to signal that they're not, it's not a lifestyle business, it's that they really want to grow quickly. So we're looking into all these issues, and we'll have some kind of findings towards the end of the year.
Let's hope that brings up some positive stuff for them. You mentioned earlier on about you deal with politicians and policy and those kinds of things. George Osborne announced his budget recently. What did you make of that, and how do you think it's helped entrepreneurs, if at all?
Well, it certainly wasn't good budget for George Osborne. I mean, he didn't come across very well in terms of the OBR statistics. He's not going to be able to cut the deficit, but it was good for entrepreneurs on the kind of macro level. So things like cutting corporation tax to 17% by 2020, CGT relief for higher and lower rate taxpayers, and I think interestingly, the most interesting one was entrepreneurs relief and extending that to investors. So they're being able to get that 10%, which I think is a brilliant move, and one that will do a lot of good for entrepreneurs. So it was a very good kind of budget for entrepreneurs.
Were there any negatives that came out of the budget for entrepreneurs?
Not so much negatives. So there were some false claims. So for example, business rates was claimed as like this big thing for businesses. Actually, the incidence, which is who actually pays it, falls falls on landowners. So landowners end up paying it. This cut is a tax cut for landowners, and we'll see kind of higher rents for businesses. There are also some missed opportunities. The 7-year rule for EIS funding is something that I think needs to go. Not every business has the same path. If your business is over 7 years old, you don't qualify for EIS or VCT relief. I think employers' national insurance could easily be rolled into income tax as well. That would help businesses grow and be less burdensome. And there's kind of lots of other things, I suppose, that could be done outside the budget as well.
So, if there was one thing that you would like to government to do for entrepreneurs, what would be your top suggestion for them?
I mean, my passion is the immigration issue.
Okay,
I think there a lot needs to be done in terms of attracting entrepreneurs, getting them over, and at the moment that's definitely not the case. So I think the entrepreneurs visa needs to be reformed. There needs to be a lot more kind of positive messages sent out, but also entrepreneurs looking to employ. There's tier 2. Puts a cap now on the amount that has to be earned, and I think that's ridiculous. I think there's a lot of startups we're paying under that cap, and also there's extra supplementary charges as well. So I think that would be a really positive thing, specifically for London and tech and the tech scene here.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Sadly, we have to leave it there. So thank you very much for joining us this evening,
Thanks
Philip.
very much.